Hey guys, and welcome back to Agrarian Skies. I did some more stuff since last time. We'll get to some of it in a second. Now, firstly, actually two things. So these Sakura saplings I put down produce insane amounts of wood. I have over 30,000 of them, and almost 8,000 saplings left over. I'm automatically already turning them into planks, because my sawmill can't even keep up. And I believe I'm actually also automatically smelting them. I'll check for that in just a second. Yes, so I've got a furnace running, automatically turning them into charcoal, because I might need charcoal later on. And I have this sawmill here, automatically turning them into Sakura wood planks, and I get sawdust as well, which doesn't really have a purpose. I did build these elevators here from, what was it, open blocks? Yep. Now, to determine where to place them, I need to find a good location. Will this work? Yeah, this will work. So, an elevator does pretty much what you expect. I should probably start at the very bottom, so there and there. And to make them, you need an ender pearl surrounded by wool, which isn't a problem. I set up my system, as you saw last time, to produce cotton. And I've given the system recipes to turn... Darn. And I can turn, here we go. I can turn 3 cotton into 2 string, and I can turn 4 string into 1 wool. So 6 cotton is one wool, which I've taught my system how to make that, in case I need wool. I've also set up my my stone generator again, just like the igneous extruder, except it's also supplied with water. And my 2 sludge boilers are actually managing to keep up with the sludge surplus, so that's nice. I've also added an aqueous accumulator here, which is automatically importing water into the system. But I've set up this fluid level emitter. And the way that works is I tell it to only emit a signal if I've less than 500 buckets of water in my system. And only when that is emitting a signal will this fluid import bus, as you can see it's active with a signal, so only if I have less than 500 buckets of water will I actually get more water into the system. And that way I keep the level at a reasonably high buffer, I mean 500 buckets, that will last a long time. But also I'm not constantly producing water, eventually filling up the entire system with 1 billion buckets of water that I have no use for at all. I've set up a few more of these deep storage units, and above them are ME storage buses. And the ME storage bus is a way to include an inventory in my ME network, so the items would still be stored in that inventory instead of on the cards that I saved everything else on. So it just considers whatever's in the inventory adjacent to it as a part of the network, which is in this case these deep storage units. And that's just for some of the items which I really have a lot of. I mean, I'm over 1 million cobblestone now, which is nothing. I need 40 times as much, so that setup will actually need to be expanded. And I have a ton of sand as well, so I just put that in there, and sulfur. I'm getting a lot of that. And you remember early on that was actually kind of difficult to get. Yeah, not anymore. Now, the elevator. If I stand on it, and I jump, it teleports me up to the next elevator above it. And it doesn't care if there's a block in the way. It just basically goes up, I think, up to 20 blocks above, and checks, is any of the 20 blocks above this one an elevator block? If so, place the player on that one. I think it only counts ones that actually have space above them as well, so I can actually stand where I would be moved. But I've never actually tried that. And if I stand on an elevator and hit shift, it teleports me down in the same way. Now if I'm at the very bottom and I try to teleport down, I just crouch, nothing happens. So it's not damaging me at all. And I can actually check in which direction my frame rate problems are lying. It's somewhere that way. I think so. Something that's here. Maybe it's all these igneous extruders. They do appear to be slightly problematic. Let's check. That's the wrong golden bag of holding. I get confused because I have two of them. So let me put some covers in front of these. I'm not sure if the lighting updates are actually the issue, but... And definitely, if I look that way, I'm getting reasonably good frame rates. If I look different ways, it's fluctuating a bit. But I don't know quite what's causing it, so I can't really do much about it. Okay. Now, I have set up something else as well, which will actually be very nice, because I keep having to make stuff with ender pearls, and my old mob trap just isn't... It's out of the range, basically. I spent most of my time here now. I've moved up all of my remaining barrels as well. And from time to time I put a new one in the correct location and empty it out. Now to move the barrels you need dollies. And these are a great item added by the Jabber mod. Now if I want to move this chest, for example, in sort of standard Minecraft, I would have to empty out everything, put it in the new chest or in a different sort of storage location, whatever. Then I could break the chest and move it, so I don't have an explosion of items lying on the ground and eventually despawning. Now what the dolly does is, it enables me to pick up the entire chest with all the stuff that's in it. It gives me mining fatigue and slowness, so I can't move very fast with the dolly in my hand. But it allows me to then, with another right click, just place it anywhere in the world. So without having to go through the effort of sorting anything out in here, I just move the barrel or the chest. Any storage item will work, I think. Well, the drum doesn't count, it's a fluid storage thing. I know it works with all the chests from the Iron Chest mod, it works with barrels. I don't have a full list of what it works with, but just a lot of things. So I guess let's import these random fruit. And I've set up one importer here, this is a fast one, which I use to very, very quickly empty out things that I just need in the system. I mean, the appetite just gets stored, there's no processing to be done. And then the slow bus is importing stuff that actually needs to be processed, such as the pulverized copper ore. So I don't get too much of that in the system too quickly, which would lead to an overflow problem. Which the system would eventually just be done, but he would work for a long time just going through all that copper. And by making it slightly slower, I have more time until all the copper is in the system, so by that time I will already have burnt through more of it in my automated system. I just find it more convenient that way, it doesn't really do much. Anyway, I have already kind of inadvertently shown my second bag of holding, which contains a ton of tesseracts, which require ender pearls, which was actually my point. I need a mob farm, that one's too far away. Okay, just make sure my jetpack's on, and for that purpose I've built a little something down here. And we already get slime spawning. I've built this in a slime chunk. Now in order to figure out what slime chunks are on this map, I had to go and die, you little fellas. I had to change the minimap mod. So when you launch the mod from the mod pack from the Feed the Beast launcher, you can edit the mods, and that allows you to remove the what is it, race minimap, I think, the default minimap, which I quite like, and I put in the Opus minimap instead, which has a feature which enables you to see slime chunks, and basically this entire room here is in a slime chunk. Now what I will do, you make a little opening, and these are all grinders, which I don't think I've used grinders before. They take power, and any mob that's in a 5x5 area in front of them, so 4 from that corner to this corner to here to here. Any mob that's in this area will be killed by the grinder, and it cannot take a range upgrade. So unlike some of the other MFR machines, like the farms, these cannot be upgraded in their range. Which means I had to make this room fairly long and fairly slim. That way it's exactly 10 blocks deep, which means any spot in this room is covered by a grinder, which took 10 grinders in total. And they will kill the mob. They will give me at least some of the rare drops. I don't believe I can get the red hearts from them, but I don't really need any more of those. It's kind of strange. I definitely know I can get some of the armor and weapons that they're carrying from the grinders, so that's good. And it produces items, obviously, whatever the mob would drop gets generated by the grinder, basically, and a liquid called mob essence. And in order to deal with all the stuff that it can output, I will use tesseracts. They are just the easiest way, and I made a lot of them. So what I'm going to do now is I'll go through, and for each tesseract, I only have one frequency that I really use at the moment. And I will have them send the items, send the fluid, so the mob drops and the mob essence gets sent into my system, and receiving the energy. And once I set that up, he should now have power. Of course, at the moment there's nothing in the area, and nothing can spawn because of the light. I mean, I guess slimes could spawn in here, but not while I'm in the area anyway. So he'll just go through his idle time, he'll wait for 200 ticks, which is 10 seconds, and then he'll restart it. So what I'll do is I'll do the exact same thing, put a tesseract with the exact same settings behind every one of these grinders, and then I'll see you in just a moment. Okay, it is done. I should maybe mention that at the bottom of the walkway around here, as the floor, around the edges I used sakura wood planks and fences, and well, these are stairs actually, and fences. I just wanted to use the sakura wood because I have so much of it. I don't know if I really like it. It doesn't work with the black burnt quartz that I used as a walkway at all, but I like the way the burnt quartz looks, so I don't know. I'm not a great builder, which is why all my stuff will look crappy like this. I'm afraid that's just the way of the world. Now this dark glass here is from Extra Utilities, and it's transparent, but it doesn't actually let light through. So the way that works in terms of game mechanics is, if I break all the torches in here, it'll be completely dark in here. And I'll just go through, check all these grinders are actually doing anything. And I think the faces of these grinders, this animation here is actually causing... Yeah, that's causing noticeable frame problems. I don't know, maybe I can set it in the config to not be animated. I don't know. But yeah, I can stand out here, and even though I have light sources out here, torches and such, the light doesn't actually go through. It's just, I can see through it, but from a game mechanical point of view, no light will go through it. That doesn't make sense physically at all, but just go with it. I think that's what the description says as well. Yeah, it makes no sense from physics perspective, so just roll with it, and that's what I'm doing. It's not really necessary. I just want to be able to look in here in case something happens that troubles me. And now the one thing that I hadn't really anticipated is that there would be slimes spawning here. This room should now be completely dark, shouldn't it? It does not appear dark at all. That is strange, but it should be dark. I have to check. So slimes can spawn on the outside here, and I don't think slimes despawn ever, so... Also, minimap zoom is too high. I'll have to do something about that. I'll probably have to half slab these, so to make the burnt quartz, replace it by some kind of half slab at the lower level of a block, so nothing can actually happen. Okay. Now I'm wondering, it should be completely dark in here, because nothing in here is producing light unless I've missed a wondrous property of Sakura wood, which would be a pain. I'll just fly up a little, and actually... Radar, show hostiles on, show neutrals off. I had this swapped around so that I could see when squid were spawning, because I needed some... Okay, so... Is it because I've half-slapped the roof and that does let light in? Because it's the only thing I can think about. The dark glass doesn't let light through, and neither should the planks. So... I'll look into that and I'll be back in a second. It definitely had to do with the planks and the half slabs. So the half slabs are they were strange. They weren't like normal half slabs. For example, I can put two of them together to make a block, which is slightly strange. And so what I did is I just turned on F7 mode, and everything was the yellow square, circle, cross things. I don't know why I was thinking square or circle. The yellow crosses. And yellow means that mobs can spawn there at night. Whereas what I was obviously looking for were the ones back here, the red ones. And those mean mobs can spawn there at any time. At least that's what the light level does. Means, I believe it wouldn't... does it? Okay, so it actually does also take into account blocks and such that would be in the way. So basically this means this is a spawn location at any time, as long as I'm far enough away. Now the old farm that I had was relying on the mob's AI walking it off into these into the conveyor belts. So it was fairly limited which distances it worked in, because I had to be far enough away so mobs could spawn, but also not too far away, so the AI wouldn't walk anymore. And the good thing about this system is I still need to be far away enough so that mobs can spawn. This should now all be perfectly fine. But I don't need to be so far, I don't need to be that close anymore, because even if the mobs don't move, the grinders will still see them and kill them. And now everything in there should be the red crosses. So we already have a bat spawning in there. You'll see in just a second that'll get killed. And as you saw, it can take up to 10 seconds for a grinder to actually end up finding it. And there it goes. Now let me... yeah, obviously zombies can now spawn on top as well. Go away. I will half-slap the top here and then I'll be back. Actually, instead of being back, I found this is a perfect opportunity to show you what the Builder's Wand does. It essentially tries to duplicate structures that I've already built, enabling me to place multiple blocks at once. So for example, I'm currently pointing it at these Sakura planks. So what you'll try to do is, you'll try to see my pattern, which this is a flat surface, there really isn't a pattern. If I right click, he'll place that pattern again, which in this case is just his 3x3 system of blocks that he's just placing because that's what he thinks the pattern is, because there isn't a pattern here. Obviously, it's just a flat surface. But for example, if I hold it to the side of these Sakura slabs, he'll recognize, oh, he's built a line. Let's add another element to that line. And so I have a very easy method of building, for example, platforms. That was very useful for building the farms, for example. And as I said, in this mod pack, they added the recipe to craft this from 8 diamonds surrounding a stick, which is very nice. It should probably, in a sky map like this, it should probably be one of the earlier things you build, just because of all the platforming that you end up having to do. And by platforming, I mean platform building, not actual platforming. And this would have otherwise been a fairly arduous task, placing all these half slabs, and the Builder's Wand just did it for me. Now if I gain a sufficient distance, which I think on top of this... yeah, we see mobs spawning down there in fairly large numbers, and the only thing that will happen to them is they will get killed. Now I should check up here. Whoa, avoid the laser. I can survive the laser as I've said before, but it's not fun. And I should now be getting mob essence. I am indeed. Now that farm will provide me with a lot of it. Probably more than I ever really need. So we will need to set up a system that enables me to get rid of more mob essence than I have. Firstly, for that I will need a bucket of it. And if I put a container in this UI here, it'll fill it up with whichever liquid I've currently got selected. And if I have a bucket of anything, or a container of anything, this could be a cell or a can, there's multiple liquid storage devices. If I right click on the fluid storage monitor with that, it'll basically tell me the level of that fluid that I have in my system. Okay, I should now also be getting mob drops. So the first thing I'll do is I'll need a I think a basic export bus and an advanced processor. Make me one of those. He knows how to craft that. I'm hoping. Come on, don't disappoint. There we go. And if I combine advanced processor with a basic export bus, I should get a fuzzy export bus. And I also need a chest. Give me the chest, give me the cobblestone, and give me the stone. For a trash can, yes. I don't really need a recipe for this because I'm really only building a few of those ever. Just place it down wherever, really. Yeah, might as well place it down here. Place the fuzzy export against it. And that should enable me to get rid of these ME cables up here. Okay, and my frames are really dropping. I'm hoping it's still acceptable. So I'm getting all the mob drops, which includes their weapons, which I really don't want. So I can set this fuzzy comparison. Basically, it looks at damaged items, and I can tell it multiple levels of splitting. If I were to set it to 99% and put it in there, that would mean he would take any bow that's at 99% or less health. So it would only leave in the system bows that are fully repaired. But really, I don't want any bows in the system. I don't care anymore about I can smelt the armor down in the smeltery in that. I really don't care. So I'm saying match any, which means he will just take any bow, basically. And up you can go. So that should work. The same thing will go for shovels and armor. I might need more than one of those fuzzy export buses. Give me that. But these items here, because they're each an individual item that doesn't stack, they will mess up my system eventually by just cluttering it with junk. 32 buckets already. There are uses for the mob essence, which I will get to eventually. Well, the most important one is an auto spawner, which I've already briefly touched on, but not really explained in detail. I'm getting spider eyes now, which is nice. So I'll keep going through this eventually and check what kinds of mob drops I'm getting and which ones I really don't want to keep. There will be more armor being added to that list, for example. But for now, he should be getting rid of all of that I've already put in the fuzzy export bus. And I might have to move the trash can to make more space, because as it stands, I can only add another 2 or 3 export buses because the rest of the sides of the trash can are being used up. So if I need more than that, I'll probably sub a second trash can, actually. However, I was going to talk to you about the fluids, and the fluids require a little bit of preparation, which I will get to now, and I'll see you in a bit. Okay, I think I've got everything I need. I obviously need the bucket of mob essence, because that's the liquid that I want to keep in control, to just put it that way. I need a fluid export bus and a fluid level emitter. Now there's 2 ways to go about this. One of them is the general approach that you would take in applied energistics, which is to craft a fluid void. And that's not too expensive. I can probably teach my system that quite quickly. And that's I guess the clean way of doing it. and it knows how to make iron ingots. It knows, well, it has iron ingots, knows how to make fluix crystals. So that recipe should just work. On the second page of recipes now, by the way, I've made quite a lot of them. And the way this block works is just like the old void pipes you might know from Buildcraft, for example. Any item, or any fluid rather, that I pump into that will just get deleted. Similar to the trash can, except it's a little more expensive. There is a cheaper method which is only available in this mod pack though. And that actually requires me to craft a quest delivery system. And the reason for that is that the quest delivery system, and it doesn't use up my quest book by the way, this doesn't, if it's not bound to any quest, it will act like a void. So anything I pump into this, as long as it's not bound to any quest, will just go away. And that'll work exactly the same way as the fluid void, but this feels a little cheap using that, so quest delivery system can just go here. And these things can go in here. I may need some more ME cable. And okay, didn't get any gold stuff. Did I get any iron stuff? Did get some chain. And what else? Leather. I could get leather, so let's take that as well. And just to make sure, I have a second piece of chain. I have a second chain chest plate in the system. Which was now removed. So if I put this one in, it'll detect that it's of the type of item that I don't want to have, and the fuzzy export bus will shove it into the trash can. And I know I could use that stuff to make +1 haste on the axe. It's also got auto repair and now actually the custom level on it. Nah, I have a modifier as well. I could do stuff, but really it's not worth it to my mind. Adding too much to it. Now the fluid void. Not an issue, because I'm now getting ender pearls. I am already at 4. Haha, and one of them I already used, so it's just like a standard mob farm. It's not super mega ginormously fast, so I'm not using any tricks to make it faster, which there are some, but I don't need them. Just while I'm standing here, mobs will spawn. I'm probably at the range where they don't actually move, but the grinders will get them anyway. I'm already at almost 100 buckets of mob essence, so and now all the fluid transporting stuff from the block, from the ME system is actually supplied by the extra cells mod, because by itself the mods don't actually support moving fluids, but its support for that has been added by the extra cells mod. Okay, so first thing I set up is this fluid level emitter, putting in the mob essence, and this gives it just the fluid symbol that you also see in the NEI, which I greatly prefer. If I put it on an exporter, such as I'm going to tell it to only be active with the signal, so I get just the bucket symbol, which I would have preferred if they did the fluid thing here as well. It's just kind of inconsistent. And now I'm just going to quickly disable this one again. And telling this to emit a signal when levels are above or equal to the limit. And I'm going to set the limit to, I don't know, let's say 1,000 buckets. 1,000 buckets should be fine. If I need more than that, I will change this. So when I have more than that, then this bottom fluid export bus will be active. And it'll export mob essence at the maximum speed. Why not? Let's go for the second speed. I still haven't checked the button to actually disable NEI, but this I can basically change the speed at which these fluid export buses work. And so that should now be perfectly functional. The fluid void doesn't even have a UI or anything, it's just any fluid that it gets, it destroys. Which is kind of useful. So this can go in here. I'll resupply the mob essence bucket to my system. And I should basically check, making sure I don't have any more items that I don't want to keep. I do. So I will now need an additional export bus. And because I barely ever need the fuzzy export buses, actually why not just give me 2 of those? But yeah, because I barely ever need them, I don't set up a recipe for them, because I'll end up crafting them maybe 3 or 4 times in total. Okay, advanced processes should be done. Fuzzy export buses are to be made now. Ah, I already made precision ones. Why would I be so silly? Well, I need them anyway. Just in case any of you were screaming at the screen just now. Yes, basic export combined with the advanced processor gives fuzzy export. Don't need the precision ones. I also need some ME cable. Keep forgetting that I also require the cables and keep putting them back and then taking them out again. Okay, you can take 1 more item, and you can take the boots and the pants. And oh, why not? I'll also be setting up this guy, so that at least for a while, I should have enough of those now. And these get removed pretty much instantly. I'll go through, check if there's any other damaged items. Now the quartz cutting knives, those are supposed to be there. He knows how to make them, and when he runs out, he makes a new one to cut those processors. Okay, this looks fine, I guess. And what I'll do now is I'll probably stand about for a while, wait for all this to process. I know I said last time that this would all be finished, but, well, it's not. It's quite the backlog that I have to go through here. And why not just go for the fast importer on the pulverized tin ore? If you were actually importing? Okay, there you go. It just took a while to get started. Okay, and there was one more thing that I was going to show you. Yes, melons. I set up one of the farms up there to make melons, as you saw. And that's because melons are so very quick. And I can make melons into melon juice, which I can use for... where is it? Click to start. Bound to have the zombie quest fulfilled again for some reason. Even though I didn't... I think I did manually kill some zombies, so that's okay. Because it's not supposed to count kills done by grinders and such. For the most important meal, for the hearty breakfast, that requires some kind of juice. And I can take melon juice. And to make vinegar, I have to cook some kind of juice, which I can do melon juice, so I can make vinegar from melon. Not that that really makes much sense, but it works. So I only need about another, what did I think, about another 3,000-ish melons, which, that's going pretty fast. And I also need this rotten flesh, because I have no use for that aside from turning it into dirt. So I'm just going to set it up here. And now all the rotten flesh I get will automatically get put in the hopper, which just is there as a buffer to make it slightly faster. You can set the export bus up so that it's directly above the oak barrel. That will work. But once the oak barrel is empty, so once the import bus down here has pulled out the dirt, it'll take a bit of time for the export bus to notice, oh, there's space there now, I'll put in some more stuff. Whereas the hopper, as long as it's above the inventory, it will keep trying to put stuff into it. Which just makes the whole thing a little faster. You skip the time that the export bus takes to notice, oh, I can put more stuff in there. Now the hopper just keeps trying. Might not be the best lag-wise, I'll have to check if that might be part of the reason, but it's all good. I've also disabled this Sakura wood farm somewhat. Keeps planting... Oh, he's through the saplings, nice. I have a ton of saplings saved up, and I'm actually turning them into dirt now. And as you saw, I have a ton of the trees as well. And a ton of the logs, so... I've switched this up for lettuce as well, because lettuce is going quite slowly and I need a total of something like 50-something thousand of them. So I'm eventually probably going to have 8 lettuce farms running up there. Now I think what I want to set up next, but I'll have to check if I have enough time, is this thing I've prepared here. I'll see about that and maybe get working on that, maybe not. I'll be right back. Okay, I should have about 5 minutes left, so that's fine. I already went ahead and built most of this because you've kind of seen it before. In here will be a few parent cows. I don't quite know how many. I have 2 on me at the moment. And this chronotyper and breeder, I should exchange those. So the breeder will go on top. And the chronotyper below. And these will do just the same thing they did back in the old base. Hate the rain. It's raining all the time in this world. The breeder I will have to supply with wheat. I think for the moment I won't do that automatically though. I will get myself a hopper. I don't think I've got the recipe for a hopper set up. Might have. I do. No, craft me a hopper. And I think these supply, hoppers supply to these. Should have brought some wheat while I was at it. Just give me a few stacks. I don't want to fully automate the breeder yet because I don't have that much wheat, and I'm worried it might actually use too much. Okay, but it does supply the breeder, that's nice, so I have a bit of a buffer, and I can just slot some stuff in here whenever I want to. The rancher is slightly different. This will take milk from the cows, which is why behind it there's a fluid import bus which imports the milk into my system. And I will set up the same thing I did with the mob essence. I will set up a similar system for milk so that I don't get infinite milk in the system. The breeder will breed the cows. The chronotyper will then pull the young cows through. Once I've set him up correctly, I guess. He might be the right way around. He might not be. I don't know. And then the grinder will kill them. I used the slaughterhouse last time to get the pink slime. The grinder will get me leather and steak instead of pink slime and the raw meat, which is slightly more useful to me. So I'm going to set this one up to also receive energy, send items and fluid, because it'll also produce mob essence from killing cows. And these should now all have energy in them. Okay, now if I put down 2 cows... Actually, what I'll do first is I'll get my... I'm hoping I've got the right one. I do. Very nice. Because one of the reasons I've set it up as I have is that I can half slab or, well, microblock really, all of these things. Which I think it's kind of neat. Makes them look a little more hidden. Doesn't work for the hopper. I might go for a different setup. I don't quite know. But this just makes it look much more clean. I just want you to share this moment of joy with me. So I go through these. I'll microblock them all. You know what? You can't go there. I was about to say I don't care, but it'll actually interrupt the conduits from connecting. Which is what I used when I did the first auto-sieving setup. I used that ability of microblocks to shape my my item duct system, but I don't want to use it here. Okay. Now, as soon as I've put these cows down, they should start to breed because of the breeder. Now let's see if the chronotyper is set up correctly, if he's going to pull them through. You went through your idle time once, just to make sure. I'll wait once more. Okay, that's good. Now I don't want the breeder having all this in it. I want... Hey. Oh, yeah, I've got wheat. Sorry about that, guys. No, follow me. Oh, well darn. Okay, means I have to wait a little, but I still have 2 cows, that's fine. It ran into the grinder's area of effect. Oh yeah, I want the sound muffler down. Well, actually, I'll just place it here for the moment. It'll go somewhere else. Each set of 2 wheat will get me a new cow, I think. Hoping in the long run. So that's 4 additional cows. That would mean 6. Let's do this. According to my calculations, that should give me 8 additional cows, pushing me up to 10. I don't quite know how exactly the breeder works, if it just gives wheat to any cow that's eligible, or if it waits until there's 2 cows that are eligible, so that there's actually a mating couple. I will have to see how this turns out. I'll leave the 16 in there for the moment, and after an hour or 2 I'll come back, see how many cows I have. And the chronotyper is now set up the wrong way around for the actual farm. But right now I want the small cows to stay with their parents so that I get a bit of a breeding setup here. And I've asked Peter and they're totally fine with it. They're saying that's the way cows want to be treated. I think that's about it though. I hope you enjoyed this slightly more chop and cut style of episode where there's lots of progress but little coherent gameplay. I'll sleep for the rain to go away for a day and then it'll start raining again. Over the time we've been doing this, we've now gotten 341 buckets of mob essence. If I right click this again, by the way, it'll stop displaying, so I don't want to do that. And the melons have risen up by, what, 300-ish? So that's going really fast. Once the melons are through, I'll replace the melon farm with probably either another lettuce or a wheat farm. I don't know the way I say it, it sounds like weed, but I mean wheat. Okay. Anyway, let me know what you think, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.